1630 to 1706 is Maastricht's background. The biography in Volume 1 is an excellent
Yeah,
treatment
it's
by
really good and thorough. It's Adrian Neely, correct?
yes,
Yeah, who wrote that?
yes, it's very well done in the way that it's a consolidation of many different sources in multiple languages. So it's a fine piece of scholarship. And what we have here is in this biography is it'll take you through the early years of his education between 1630 and 52, from the time he was born. It's a little bit about his family, how they were originally from Maastricht in the Netherlands, but they were basically run out of that area in the period of the Spanish Furies, and they eventually settled elsewhere. And so what you have is Maastricht is raised in a pretty typical education of that period for someone of his station. He went through a Latin school, which was actually an ancient one in one sense. The school he went to for his, his junior high and high school years had been founded in 1280. So we talk about alumni here.
You think they have those sweaters, where it's like the EST 12?
Yeah, right. Right. So to give you an example, whenever I say that he went to a classical liberal arts education,
yeah.
I think that gives you a sense of the area. But also from there, after he studied there, he goes on to study at Utrecht. One of his pastors was actually Johannes Hornbeek, who some of the listeners may know was a Dutch theologian who was emphatic on the nature of theology as a practical discipline. And also, Hornbeek wrote quite a few pieces dealing specifically with, missionary activity and engagement with other religions. So there's quite a bit in Hornbeek that's of interest. But he also met the Reformed theologian Hyspartus Futsius, who was the founding systematics professor at Utrecht and had a tremendously long career, very long life. Futsius was at the Synod of Dort and was still teaching all through the middle part of the 17th century. So after Maastricht's stint in school, he ended up as a pastor in a variety of churches in the German districts. And at the same time, he also was in a place called Xanten, which was under the Brandenburg court at the time. The significance of that is that he was in a mixed context. It wasn't just Reform. It was Lutheran and it was Reformed. Folks were moving around in different congregations. Maastricht served as a pastor in some capacity for 25 years. And so by the time he was in his late 40s, headed towards his early 50s, he's had 25 years of pastoral experience.
Wow.
And then is also starting to see the rising tide of Cartesianism in the church. And that really bothers him. One of the issues that Maastricht sees as the deepest issue is what I would call methodological doubt. Maastricht is deeply concerned that if you start with doubt, there's a very real possibility you will never arrive at faith. In fact, he says you won't. That's not the way that doubt should be used. And so he writes some philosophical works that also have not been translated. It's this lovely book entitled The Gangrene of the Cartesian Novelty. It's a systematic theology that goes head by head, topic by topic, through all of the heads of theology, but uses that structure as a way to take apart Cartesianism.
Wow. My kind of right. This is quite the polemical writing, I think.
Yes.
I think the Van Tillians would approve of this.
If all we had of Maastricht was that work on the Gangrena, as it's called, it would be a significant piece of Reformed polemics.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not what he was that was not the consuming passion, I would say, of his ministry and of his education. He really was He wanted to move pastors to a better preaching of the word for the sake of their congregants.